Today, we're going to be talking about the issue in America, not issues, the one issue. The main issue in America is that life feels like it's segmented. It feels like there's 1,000 different issues. What's up, Rockin'? But really, the problem is that there's one specific issue. The one specific issue is that the 1% of people have way much more money than the rest of us. And they have been able to dominate every aspect of society so that it does not work for us. It only works for the ultra wealthy, and in most cases, it works against us. Usually when we start to speak out, we start pushing back economically. We vote with our dollar. Then when that doesn't work, we speak out to our representatives. And when that doesn't work, we try to protest. But what happens when none of those things work? What happens when everybody is saying what is going on, but nobody has a solution to how to try to create something better? And we don't have that solution, not because we don't have enough people that are awake or ready to push back. We don't have a solution because corporations control everything we need to live. I'd say localism would be the word. Because we all feel this way. We all feel this pressure. And we're going to start with the economic pressure and talk about how that affects everything else in our lives. Because it either feels like life is like walking in the mud, or that we're on a hamster wheel, or that we're just playing a rigged carnival game. But it is crazy that we are working so hard and still falling farther behind. That working 40 hours a week doesn't cut it anymore for the basics, like to get food and housing and then have enough to live and be happy. 40 hours a week just doesn't cover it anymore. And so many people are looking for the reason why. It's almost like this was planned. Hey, let's make sure that people don't have money. And when they don't have money, they'll be a lot easier to divide. Because they're going to be looking for the problem. Because the previous generations, they did work hard and they got ahead. But now we're working our butts off and we're falling farther behind. But when we ask why, everybody has a different answer than everybody else. Well, that's because the media is there to divide us, right? The media is not there to give us any kind of truth. The media is for profit, not for people. So let's see. The economy used to be so that we could have some opportunity to make a living. Well, now the economy is only there for the corporations. Politicians are the media is supposed to keep us in the same reality. Now they figured out, actually, we make more money if they're arguing. And then politicians are supposed to correct the imbalance. So not at all does everybody need to do the same thing at the same time. That isn't even close to what we need to do. What we are building is a feedback loop, where mass action equals more connection. More connection equals the ability to have more local alternatives. If you have more local alternatives, that's what allows you to actually boycott. Because right now we can't even boycott. Definitely can't strike. So what we should be working towards is how do we make boycotts more effective? How do we make strikes more effective? And it will never be top down. It has to be people on the ground saying, oh, I can do that. Oh, it's as easy as this to start doing this or that. I can do that. And that is what we are building. Because what we are starting is we break out into groups by state. After we break out into state, we form local action groups. And then you essentially decide, do I want to do something in the short term or something in the long term? So there we go. We got something in the short term, something in the long term. Then you are able to choose all these different options depending on if you want it short term or long term. And absolutely, we got the strike coming January 30th. But a one-day strike is more like a practice, right? Because although it is important, in order for it to have long-term effect, they need to know that we mean it when we say we strike. Right now, we can tell them we're going to strike, but we have no leverage. So we're kind of like a teenager who's going to their parents and we're like, hey, I need you to fix this. And the parents are like, you rely on us for everything. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? You can't go anywhere. So that's where what we need to do is understand that right now, the best we can do for a strike isn't to actually hurt the system. It's to recruit more people, to recruit more people to build local connections. Because if we build local connections, we'll have more non-corporate alternatives. And if we have more non-corporate alternatives, that will allow us to boycott. And if we are able to boycott, then that feeds this feedback loop. That's exactly what it is. We've built the feedback loop. No, we're here live on YouTube and Instagram as well. So there's just multiple cameras. So the feedback loop is what we are all missing, because before, protesting was the end goal. Oh, let's go speak out and make a difference. But now we're realizing that protesting does nothing. Protesting doesn't help unless you've got leverage to back it up, right? And the way that you get leverage to back it up is you start building local alternatives. That's what needs to happen. Because it's only if we can boycott and mean it that boycotting matters. Because right now we say, we're going to boycott, and the corporations go, good luck. 80% of you have to get your food from corporate grocery stores. 98% of you all buy your insurance from corporations. So that is one part of it. Sophie, 3-time charm, that is part of our list that we have that shows people exactly what you can do to get plugged in. It's literally just a list. Do you want to do something now in the next month? Do you want to build something long term in the next 3 to 6 months? Then, do you want to put pressure on the current system, or do you want to build a new system? And then we've got 4 or 5 options underneath, and each of those options give you exactly a step-by-step guide on how to accomplish it. And all we need is 3 to 5 people in every single city, in every single state, in every single region, starting in one of those 8, 9, 10 areas. Because that's the thing. We don't need people. We don't need 50 million people to all agree. Well, Bella V, that's what it is. You got to start that Hudson Valley chapter. So depending on what state that is in, hop into the Discord, because it's right there. If you're looking for it, we're already in wherever state Hudson Valley is, maybe New York, we've already got a state team built. And people in that state are creating a local action group to do more. Because what we have to understand is that we are so boxed in economically that we can't do anything politically. So there you go, Bella. Join the pinned comment down at the bottom. So the best thing we can do is strike or boycott. But in order to strike, the majority of Americans need savings. And we know that Americans don't have savings. In order to boycott, we need to actually not use corporations for long periods of time. But for the majority of people, non-corporate options are almost not available, right? I would love to go to a local grocery store, a local hardware store, but they are so far. They are not efficient, right? So what we need to do is build something that is more efficient, that works for people instead of against them. Because right now, the entire economy only works for corporations. So that's where we've got to understand that the corporations control the economy. Because there is no competition whatsoever, they make sure that we can't go anywhere else. So Pangs, I'm all there for you, but using that language will get more people turned off from you than not. Because nobody really wants this. It's just that they've also made us defend the system out of habit. It's literally like, think back to when cars were first introduced versus horses. People loved horses. A car is absolutely superior, but people loved horses because that's all that they knew. So if you had called for a global revolution against horses, you might lose some people that are otherwise on your side. Because I don't think people like having corporations that create food, that produce our food, putting in things that are bad for us, that is not food. I don't think we like health insurance companies actively not allowing us to live. So it's not that people actually are against this. Well, what it is all the words, all the language around progress has been co-opted. So if you call against capitalism and imperialism, you are just going to lose the majority of Americans. I am right there with you. But the way that we speak is important, because even if you say the word like socialism or community oriented, people will see what they want in that. And the only way you will fix that is getting people excited. You're never going to do it from doom and gloom. That's all. You have to get people excited about something new. People don't leave a system because it stops working. Not at all. Broken systems don't even get fixed. This system ain't getting fixed. It will be abandoned when something better comes along. That's all. But you have to understand what motivates people. That's what it comes down to. Telling them this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. It does not motivate them to leave. They go, what do you mean? I was born into this. I didn't choose this either. I'm just going with the flow. I'm not the one hurting babies. I would love for it to be fixed. That's what I'm confused. We all want that to be fixed. Who doesn't want that to be fixed? So how do we actually fix it though, right? Is it by beating people over the head with a stick? Change your ways, change your ways. Or is it by giving them an avenue so that changing their ways is easier than staying in their old habits? It just comes down to, you are never going to argue with someone out of a position they didn't argue themselves into. They are in, but just speaking the truth is actually hurting what I am trying to accomplish, what we are trying to accomplish. So if your goal is to get a better system that works for the majority of people and works for us instead of against us, then you're speaking the truth is hurting that goal. Because the way you're speaking the truth causes people to close their ears. So if the way you're speaking causes people, see, and that's the problem too. Quick change will not come. This will not be over by Christmas. Probably won't even be over by next Christmas. One of the problems is that we want change so fast. It's like a doctor coming in and telling us, you have a congenital heart disease. So what we do is we go change. We want to change real fast. So we go work out. We only eat lettuce for the next 2 days. And we work out and we try to change all of our habits. And then we get burnt out because we're trying to change quickly instead of trying to change correctly. Right? So what we are trying to do is saying, hey, we understand the problem is bad. It's like we've just been diagnosed with stage 5 cancer. But once we are diagnosed with stage 5 cancer, it doesn't mean we just go do anything. We have to do the right thing. And what's so cool, though, is that the right thing actually compounds on each other. The only thing we're doing wrong is we're treating protesting like the end goal. Protesting should simply be our recruiting grounds to build more connections, because what we really need are small local groups. And for those small local groups, what's up, 7-Eleven? What's up, Dave? Good morning, Josh. And those small local groups are going to build what we need, what they need in their area. But because it won't just be one small local group in one area, because it will be 50, 100, 200 local groups that are all either writing letters to the editor, starting food buying groups, either planning long-term for community building, planning short-term for pressure campaign. As long as every action fits inside the feedback loop, which is mass action creates connection. Connection creates more ability for local options. More local options create the ability to boycott and strike. The ability to boycott and strike equal more mass actions. And more mass actions equal more connections. It all feeds into itself. So this is what we have built. We have local groups. The Discord is where we split out by state. The Discord is where we split out by state. And then what we do from there is we start building what we need that works for us, not against us. Join the Discord if you have not yet. The link is in the chat. And Nina, it's barely even a plan. It's a structure, because what we have realized is that we cannot do this without you. We need tens and millions of people not to agree, not at all. We need tens of millions of people to say, I can hop in somewhere on here, right? It doesn't need to be, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's, oh, this is what works for me in my area. This is what makes me passionate, and I'm going to follow that. And I bet that there's going to be 3, 4, or 5 different people in your area that want to go with you. Well, yeah, deeper insight. The boycott and strike and protest, incredibly important. But unless the boycott, protesting, and strike supports long-term actions, and then the long-term actions support the protesting, boycotting, and striking, that's the symbiosis that we need. And here's what's so cool is when people join, it's not all these different questions. It's, all right, we've got your local group all set up. It's in the Discord server. From there, you just need to make literally 2 choices. Do I want to do something in the next month, the next 1 to 3 months in the short term? Or do I want to build something in the next 3 to 12 months in the long term? Then from there, you choose, okay, I either want to start now or build long term. Then we've got 3 or 4 options for each. You can either push back against the current system or build a new system that works better. Because what we are doing is we are building an alternative economy. The strongest thing we can do is boycott, and the second strongest thing we can do is boycott, and the strongest thing we can do is strike. So if we create the conditions where a strike is not a leap of faith, but is actually, oh, why aren't we doing this yet? It's a logical next step, right? And this isn't a place that we are talking politics, not at all. If you think this is a left versus right forum, this is not the place for you. This is the place for people who are sick of that shit. Because I can tell you this has been happening for 50 and 60 years. And pointing fingers does nothing but perpetuating the problem. Appreciate you, Dave. There we go, Luis. So what we are doing is we are saying, hey, we could sit there and we could do the same old thing that we've been doing for decades and get mad at other Americans. Maybe you think they're brainwashed. I say stop getting mad at the people that are brainwashed and start getting mad at the people doing the brainwashing. And let's ask why they don't want us ever getting on the same page. Because here's the thing, what we're talking about building is the fact that corporations don't do anything. Corporations are simply middlemen. We are the ones that eat food. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I do. Do you? Somebody in your county, somebody in your state is the one that is growing the food. Why do the corporations make all the money? Why do the corporations control access to food when we're the ones that eat the food? We are the ones that grow the food, but somehow corporations make all the money. I know, David, I hear you. So what we're saying is that why doesn't the value go to the people that do the work? Well, because they lied to us, right? They've set everything up so it works against us. They made most people not be able to see this. And that's all that we're really saying. Corporations are in charge of the things we need to live. There you go. Corporations are in charge of the things we need to live, and they don't care about us. So that's what we need to start from. So corporations really are in charge. Corporations fund our politicians. So the politicians listen to the people that pay for their campaign. We'd like to think that politicians work for the people that pay their salary. Their salary is like 200 grand. Their campaign is like 200 million. So that's the one they're going to go for. I know, I got Dave and Merv. I got my warm blankets here. I'm all wrapped up. And so the whole reason that the economy has worked against us for the last 40 or 50 years is because people have been lied to and brainwashed that, oh, without the ultra rich people, without the corporations, you're nothing. That's what they've been telling us. They tell people internalize this too. Oh, without the people who take the risk, we wouldn't have anything in this world. What about the people who work at the factory? Because I can go have 10 factories. But unless I have 10,000 people to work at those factories, then I'm not going to be able to produce anything, right? CJ, we're here every day at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to start going on Spotify too. So what we need to understand is that life is about cooperation, right? Life is about cooperation. And here we've got James in the comment. There are people that can't run a factory, only work at them. But then, James, have you ever asked why? It would probably be because their education wasn't as quality as it could have been. And let's ask why someone's education wasn't as good as it could have been. Because we have such we don't? Education is based on the price of the house you were born into? So everybody doesn't get the same education. Everybody gets different education based on who they're born to and how much money they have when they're born. But wait, that doesn't make any sense. Somebody doesn't decide who they're born to. So why does who somebody is born to decide the level of education they receive? That just doesn't seem fair. And then, James, it's almost like they keep you working so hard that you don't have time to actually think about any of this. Because what's funny is you're talking to an employer. I've got 34 employees. I don't make any sense because you aren't the people that I'm talking to, right? James, you're just making that shit up. But that's where I got to remember, we're not here to talk to them. So there will be so many people that when we bring this up, right? I know, kind of a lab rat, but I'm not there to talk to them. I'm here to talk to you. Because that's really the number one thing we've got to understand is that people will not ever go against a system that they were born into. So say somebody's born into this house. Yeah, the house has problems. But if you just tell them, hey, move to this new house, well, they're going to be like, can I see it first? And you'll be like, no. And they're going to be like, well, I don't know if I want to move to that new house. So they, rather than asking questions, they get upset, right? I blocked them, Daniel, because I'll do the same thing. I'll talk to them. So that's where we've got to understand what we are talking about building, even for somebody like James. We don't need to argue. This is really the essence of what I mean. If we build a system that works for people instead of against them, we don't need to convince them. We really don't. You don't convince somebody that a car is better than a horse. You build the car and just wait until they come and use it. We didn't have companies calling us and convincing us to switch from our local markets that we used to have to these big grocery stores. They built something better, and so we flocked to it. So let's build something better again. We don't need grocery stores. We can reach out to farmers, and it actually will probably be cheaper and healthier and ultimately easier. Here we go, Luis. Thank you for asking. So we can do it with food, and that's going to be the easiest and best way to do it because everybody needs food. And we start with something like this, where we redefine basically what a business is, what we need in society. Because what I say we need is a company that is a steward over our food that doesn't screw us over. So what we're going to do is, rather than arguing with the Jameses of the world and say, hey, a better system, yep, absolutely, that they will never understand. What if you said, hey, James, these corporations that run grocery stores, they do not care about us. So instead of giving them our money, we're actually going to get a group together and we're just going to place a bulk order with the local farmer. We're just going to start with eggs. But that's going to show people that we don't need the grocery store. That if all of us come together, all we're doing is ordering bulk from the grocery store. So, Moni, that's where, but I bet you if you were a food distributor, you would care. I know that if I was a food distributor, I would care, because this shit ain't just about food. This is something people need to live. People pay the same. So here's what it is. I say, Luis, I got 50 other people that all want to buy eggs locally. The farmer sells them to us for $3 a dozen, $4 a dozen. You order on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you pick them up on Friday or Saturday. That's about it. It's a bulk order of eggs. You pay online on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you go pick it up at the local farmers market. We all meet on Friday. We all meet on Saturday. And everybody comes and gets their eggs. Hey, maybe we got some juice. Merv, maybe we got some corn boiling. And we start building community. And then once somebody asks, hey, are you ever going to do veggies? Right? Then you know you're onto something. And what we've done is we've walked this all out. If you want to do this, you can. You can make an impact by showing a better option, because broken systems don't get fixed. They will get replaced when a better option comes along. That's it. And what this really does is, look right there, what this does, it takes politics out of the equation. While also, Lab Rat, it is the first or second post on TikTok that on our profile. Because not only do we have this picture, we have a whole nother second page that is an FAQ, and also gives you exact step-by-steps. And then Lab Rat, if you are willing to do this, we've already got 2 going. I'm in Maryland. We've got 1 down in Florida. And the Discord is where we break out by state. That's where essentially either people are one of 2 things. They want to build this or they want to buy from it. What I think is going to be so incredible is the fact that all these people that are signing up for this, that want to be a part of this, not everybody is going to build it, right? But for the people that do build it, well, this is going to be the customer base, right? And that's what's so cool is we're starting, these are little small businesses that are the beginning of co-ops. You don't need to find 1,000 people yourself. You and 20 other people each find 20 people, right? There's 400 right there. There you go. All we need to do is connect people. And that's what we're doing on the Discord. This is how many people. Well, and that's the problem, Go For It, is that in our country, it's like people want this, but we don't have the non-corporate options to make it happen. That's the problem. Everybody wants this. We just don't have as many options to make it happen. Because that's the thing. Corporations knew, oh shit, if they've got 5 local grocery stores and 6 local hardware stores, well, when we treat them like shit, they can just leave and go somewhere else. So the corporations worked really hard to make sure that they could treat us however the F they wanted, and that we couldn't go shop somewhere else. And the only way they could do that, what's up, Wild One, is if. So Frisco, in a major city, got 2 other ideas for you. So number 1, we could find somebody and you tack on a trucking fee, right? You do the same thing. Maybe you got to drive 45 minutes. So what you do is you put on a fee, 50 cents. And maybe you're only making 20 or 30 bucks. Maybe you're only making enough to cover, but you're like, shit, if I can get up to 60 people, that makes this drive worth it. I can make 40 bucks a drive. All you're doing is you're offering a service to your community. So, but for people in the city, we've got another idea. Buy, sell, resell groups. I know that for me, we've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. We are constantly buying new toys, new clothes, and we don't buy any of them from a corporation, even from a store. We get everything secondhand, but it's super easy in our area because somebody's actually started like a secondhand consignment store, where rather than us having to sell 50 pieces of clothing, well, these people take the bag that would have just gone to Goodwill. They go resell it at a reasonable price to the rest of the community. They slip us a 20 from the profits. We're happy because the clothes actually go to people that need them. The people that's doing the work to connect people is making a little bit of money. And then people are making, are buying clothes for like $1. They've just added it to women, and they just added men. I've gotten a couple pullovers from them. They have somebody in the group that buys furniture and resells it. Other people buy toys and resell it. And they all use the same model to support each other. So those are the first two options. Then not only that, my favorite thing is also taking back some of our health care. We can do direct primary care because the same way that corporations are nothing more than middlemen, all they do is control access to the farmers and the food. They do the same thing to our health care, right? And the doctors. Shit, man, that doctor down the street, they want you to have quality health care at an affordable price. And that doctor down the street, that nurse down the street, that healthcare provider that lives in your area, you know how they feel about insurance companies? That's the worst part of their job. So what if we went to a small group of doctors, of healthcare providers and said, hey, we're sick of paying all this money to a corporate health insurance that doesn't do jack for us. We want to pay you the money. Could 100 of us all get together and pay you $100 a month? Because you know what it really is you would be incentivized to take care of us. Because the better, the more healthier we are, the less we'll have to come see you. And the less we have to come see you, the more money you make. That's already the model that insurance companies do. It just is, they don't keep us healthy. They just keep us denied, right? They just keep us rejected. They just keep that prior authorization not filled out. It kind of elaborate. We all are in this system and we all hate it. That's where when I made a video and I said, people don't want this. And somebody wrote back like, people do want this. And I'm like, nobody asked for cardboard in your, or sawdust in your Parmesan cheese. Nobody asked for your parents to no longer be living because you used up all of the money in your health insurance plan. It's like, what? But it only costs this much more. We'll pay for it. Nope, they cannot have that procedure. What? So ours daughter, we are building the co-ops. Dave Anderson, it was a little while ago. It wasn't like a huge thing. But I love having you here so much, man. They put a little bit of like non-food in our Parmesan cheese. And I know, kind of elaborate. He cracks me up. And yeah, it was like a little bit of cardboard. So for ours daughter, what we are building is that we want a system where the people that grow and produce our food care about the people who are putting that food into their bodies. I think most local farmers do care about their community, right? I heard a local farmer once who did regenerative farming, roots so deep, soil health to the end. And they said, well, how can you feed the world with this? And he goes, I don't think I'm supposed to feed the world. I think I'm supposed to feed my community. And I said, hell yes, brother, because that's what this is, right? That's what this is. So what we need to understand, give me a couple seconds here. I'm on like 3 or 4 different platforms. So what we need to understand is that they are just controlling access. So we need to figure out, well, rather than going through the corporations, how can we go around them instead? So we can do that for our food. We can do that for our healthcare. But most people don't see that this is a reality, right? Just because we've all been born in this system. It is all we know. I've been doing this lately. Where are my 80s babies at and earlier? 80s babies and earlier. We heard whispers of a different world. If there are people born earlier, you probably lived in that different world. But we heard whispers of it. A general store ran by somebody local. Their kid might be in the store and you could play with them. A local grocery store that actually went out of their way that if somebody gave them bad veggies, bad fruit, they'd say, nah, no, thank you. I'm looking out for my customers and I wouldn't want to eat that. So I certainly as hell ain't selling it to my customers. That's how I feel about the damn strawberries that are in the grocery store now. And if somebody is local, if somebody cares about the community that they are serving, then they don't look at what they are doing as owners. Oh, without me, these other people's lives would be terrible. Da 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 da. No, we all are interdependent on one another. You drive a car that you didn't build. You ride on roads that you didn't pave. You live in a house that you didn't create. Right? Everybody relies on everybody else. So it's not one person that is pulling the rest out up by their bootstraps, right? It's multiple people all coming together because life is about cooperation. It would just be on the Discord. So that's where basically we are an economic pushback group that does boycotts, strikes, all those kinds of things. But we learned really early on that boycotts don't work unless you have other options that aren't corporate. Strikes don't work unless people have economic freedom, and people do not have economic freedom if they do not have freedom of choice, whether it be not by not having money or not having options. So yeah, we are going to keep protesting. We are going to keep showing up. We are going to keep being loud. But every one of those actions will funnel into a stronger and deeper action that then makes the next protest, boycott, or strike even bigger. It is a feedback loop. So this is the beginning of that feedback loop. We have a mass action like blackout the system. That mass action leads to more connection, like ours daughter, like you and I finding each other. Those connections lead to local groups. We split out by state in our Discord. We find 3 to 5 people that are ready to go. And we start building what we need, right? Because corporations don't care about us. They control our food. So we're going to take back some control of our food. Corporations don't care about us. They control our healthcare. So we're going to take back that. There are things that we can do immediately, and there are things we can do long term. We have both of those broken out. And then what you do is you find 3, 4, 5 people in your state. Maybe your first couple weeks is recruiting more people into your local action group. Right? But what this really is a small business revolution. 1 million small businesses, each serving just 40 or 50 people. And we will beat the corporations, not because we're going to offer more. We're going to beat the corporations because we care, right? Because we care. And this is how we will take back our control, because the government doesn't work for us. The government works for corporations, right? And corporations are the ones in control. They knew they had a choice this last election between authoritarianism and a little slap on the wrist, a little bit of us going, hey, we're fed up with this. But the corporations didn't want to take even a little bit of their medicine. So Merv, what is it? When democracy stands in the way of their profits, they stop supporting democracy. And that's all that's really happened. Corporations chose authoritarianism over power of the people because they hoped that authoritarianism made them some money in the short term. So what we need to do is figure out, how do we stand up against corporations, not politicians? How do we stand up against corporations? Well, I think we all know the answer to that, right? Hit them in their mother effing wallet. But the only way we can hit them in their wallet, the only way we can boycott effectively is if we have alternatives, right? The only way we can strike effectively is if we have money or economic freedom. Why do you think the majority of Americans don't have any savings? Because they knew if we all had 3 months or 4 months of savings, how many of us would sit our asses down? Put a me in the chat. If we all had 3 months, 4 months, 5 months of savings, you bet your ass we ain't working for a month. We're on a 30-day general strike like that. So that's why they don't let us have 3 to 6 months of savings. Because they know the biggest, strongest thing we can do is say we're sitting our asses at home. Right? So, but Soaring Eagle, that's what we're saying is we can't boycott right now. So what we need to do, the second best thing we can do is build towards making boycotting possible. We build towards making boycotting possible by creating more connections and feeding the feedback loop. Ours daughter, if you're still there, would love to know if you got into the Discord or not.